Cartoons, the animated frontier. These are the voyages of the Cellcast podcast. Its continuing mission to explore strange new cartoons, to seek out new animation styles and new creative storytelling methods, to boldly go where so few ever go again.
Welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who, well, much like a certain character Bill Murray played, he seems to be repeating every day over and over and over again. Except instead of Groundhog Day, it's Christmas Day. Welcome, Jacob. You still haven't seen that movie.
No, I haven't. I'm going to have a headache after this. Why, thank you. I'd like to introduce our co-host. A man who has a desire to give a gift to the one he loves. He's willing to give away, willing to sell his prized possession for that one desired gift for his loved one. Welcome, Drew.
Okay, then. I don't even have a good reference for that. I know what it's referencing, don't get me wrong. I have no comeback, is really what I mean to say.
Thank you.
How are you doing, Jacob?
Well, like I said before in our pre-show, we had to delay this recording in a week because I had a loved one suddenly pass away last Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you so much for those who prayed, those who reached out to me, reached out to my family. Thank you so much. That means the world to me. This was very sudden. My cousin Mike was in a head-on collision. He did not make it. But I'm very grateful to know that he knew Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, so I know where he is now. Thank you. So his wake was last Saturday, and so if you would continue to pray, lift up thoughts, and what have you, to his now widow, my cousin Shannon, and her family and his family as they go through the grieving process. And thank you so much for allowing us to take a break and allow me to go through the process, because that was kind of hard. And plus, oddly enough, talking with Jim, my brother, who's also Movie of the Week podcast, he mentioned that 2 years ago, almost to the day, him and his wife were in a head-on collision going to my parents' place, and that was kind of traumatizing at the same time. So yes, so that's why we did not do a recording on last Tuesday.
Yes.
Other than that, it has been a very interesting week. It has been a very long 2 days. Let's say that.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly.
Yes.
Despite the fact that yesterday was my birthday.
Yes, it was. I completely forgot. Happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, why, thank you. I'm old enough to know better, but still too young to care.
All right, so my week's gone pretty good. Last week was kind of rough. There were points during last week that I was very thankful I do not drink alcohol beverages, because I was that point to be like, I need a drink at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
How rough the week was. But by the grace of God, I don't drink. I never have. Well, I've taken sips of drinks. Let's say that, being honest. But other than that, I had an amazing weekend. Went to a cookout / campfire. Was with a dear friend from church, and hung out with some family on my side, and just had a great time. Had a very, very heart-to-heart conversation. It's one of those conversations where it's honesty is the best policy. Let's say that honesty is the best policy when it comes to those situations, and you learn a lot about people. You learn a lot of people, and it helps relationships grow or what have you. So it was an interesting ride back home that night. Let's just say that. I'm not going to get into any details because it's not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, other than that, it's been a long week of work. So how's your day been, Drew?
Long. I don't want to get into it too much. It's just, it was a very, do I best put this? There was a lot of stress
Okay.
with an order today. That's all I'm really going to say for multiple reasons. But when it comes right down to it, it's been an interesting couple weeks on this. Well, this particular one, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
What have you been watching?
Well, besides
These two things.
these two things, obviously, I did watch last week. I did watch, obviously, ever since with recording being rescheduled.
Mhm.
I had the chance to watch Christmas Story for the second time. Much better viewing from the second. You can go check out the movie review podcast where we review that movie.
Yes.
I'm not exactly sure when that episode's going to come out.
I think he said he's going to try and get it edited in tomorrow,
Okay.
but it's out when it's out.
Yeah, so go check that out. And I watched 21 Bridges, starring the late Chadwick Boseman. Excellent movie. Beautiful script, just camera, cinematography, acting, the chops. Just amazing film. Now, if you do not like excessive violence, language, a lot of very violent gunplay, this is the movie. Not for you. It's rated R. But personally, I really enjoyed it. It had a really in-depth story about conspiracy and just an amazing film. I loved it to death. It was great. I think that's the only thing I've watched because we didn't watch anything at the Bible study on Sunday.
No, we did not.
Yeah.
It was a late night.
That it was. So what did you? Have you watched?
I watched along with Mike.
Mm.
I also watched Ghidorah, the three-headed monster.
Ah.
I've been going back through the Showa era Godzilla film,
Yeah.
and this happens to be the next one in line after Godzilla vs. Mothra, which I believe I talked about
Mm-hmm.
sometime back here. I can't list right now, but that's fine. Oh, there it is. Yeah, way back around August, right before we saw 10.
Mm.
That's when I saw.
Oh, okay.
The other one, but I watched Ghidorah.
Okay.
I then went and watched the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode on Samson versus the Vampire Woman.
Oh.
That's a movie and a half. Let's just say that. There's a reason MSC3K covered it.
Okay.
And then I also watched Stagecoach.
Okay.
It's not the first John Wayne movie,
It's one of.
but it's the first one in which it's the one that actually launched his career.
Okay.
And it's not even the first time he was a starring role, because technically John Ford, also the director of Stagecoach,
Mm-hmm.
had him do the lead in Big Trail,
Okay.
which is about the Oregon Trail,
Okay.
or a trip on the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
And he's in that when he's like super young,
Okay.
like in the 20s.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah.
then it's in this one, it was the first time I'd actually watched this. And I thought it was interesting. It was very well done, I thought.
Okay. Excellent.
And other than that, I've just been watching YouTube.
Yeah, same here. I do want to give a huge shout out to a YouTube channel I love to watch now. It's called The Overly Sarcastic Production. It's hosted by two amazing creators, Blue and Red. That's the names they go by. And they do comedy, almost like a comedic education over literature. Literature. Thank you. Literature. Sometimes I have a hard time pronouncing words.
I know. I want you to know that when I crack up at your mispronunciations, I am not laughing at you.
I fully understand.
I may not understand entirely where you're coming from, but I never want to mock you in that instance. If I'm going to mock you, I'll do it to your face.
Okay. In your face.
Exactly. No, it's just when I hear things like that, it tickles something in my brain. It's like,
yeah.
you know how it is.
Yes.
So I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you.
Okay, completely understand. So they do literature, they do mythology, and they also do history.
Mm-hmm.
So go check them out. They're an amazing podcast. They have over 1.6 million viewers. They've been around for like 8 years. And they're just an incredible source of entertainment, laughter, and just very good history. Very good history. I do disagree with them in some regards. So that they do kind of glaze over some things and highlight a lot more of the things, but that's history. That's people who do history things. But they're very good, and so just definitely shout out to those guys, and go give them some love if you are willing to.
Well, while we're still giving YouTube channels a shout out, I do want to give a shout out to Raw Quiz Show, which I have been on for the past couple weeks.
Yeah, how's that going?
You should go watch it.
Okay.
Because I don't want to spoil anything,
Okay.
but I am winning. That's not really saying much.
Yeah, rub the salt in just a little bit.
Well, I mean, okay. If I reverse it to... Actually, it was this last episode, so I don't want to spoil too much. Let's just say that there's some people who should learn from their past mistakes.
Oh.
And did not.
Okay. Gotcha.
And they are no longer in the game.
Oh, that's just not good.
The funny thing
Sorry,
is,
whoever that is.
well, here's the funny part. Jack Cornwall, who is currently in our chat room, or at least has texted on our chat room earlier tonight,
Yeah.
he was playing backup for him while this guy was out.
Yeah.
And he didn't try to make him lose, but he didn't make it hard.
Oh, ow.
We kind of teamed up.
Oh, okay.
All of us teamed up
No.
to teach this guy a lesson that you ever seen that SpongeBob SquarePants meme where a bunch of people are walking towards this old guy and that guy says, "How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?"
Yep.
That's kind of what it was.
I totally get it. I do totally get it.
But go watch that, especially you should go watch all 4 episodes that are out, including the one where we all got mad at the host.
Too funny.
Which was MCU related, by the way.
Okay.
Interesting. Fairly well on that, but I don't want to spoil what actually happened.
Yeah. I do have to say one thing before we continue. I am editing a secret project for the podcast,
Which will be revealed in about a month and a half.
Yeah, about a month and a half. So stay tuned for that.
It might be connected to a thing we're doing currently.
Yes.
That's all we're gonna say.
Yeah. All we're gonna say. While doing the editing process, I am about 3 episodes away from being completed, which I'm just like
of what we've recorded.
of what we recorded.
Which I
Yes.
don't think you got any of the season 2 episodes.
No,
we
I
did.
haven't. I haven't got any of those.
And you know where those episodes still are? The bottom one, yeah.
That's what I thought.
I haven't
Old
moved.
Betsy.
I still need to move everything from old Betsy onto the new one, who's I have not named that computer yet.
I got you. So
So if you want to help me name my brand new computer and not the thing that gives Jacob seizures,
or distracts me.
that too. Trying to keep the epilepsy away.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
If I didn't think I could get away with crap like that, I wouldn't say it.
It's totally understandable. Believe me, I've heard worse. I've heard worse, and it was more. It was coming from a place of love, but more be like, I am going to just rue you and just
It happens.
make this very funny for everybody else, and just like, okay,
It very much happens all the time.
it does. It happens a lot. So going back to the episode which I was reviewing, and oh my gosh, I like earlier, I get tongue tied on a word, and it just snowballs. Be like, you need to try to help me pronounce the word at one point, and you be like, go through the like, this. Okay, I go to say it, I can't say it, and we are just busting
I
out
remember
loud.
this.
Yes, it is so much fun. It's so much
It
fun.
was 6 months ago, but I think
Yeah,
I
it was
remember
6
this.
months ago. But yeah, that was hysterical. I hope when this series does come around, I hope to give that blessing to you guys in a like a bonus episode or what have you. So yeah, stay tuned for that because that's gonna be really, really fun.
Indeed.
Yes. So yeah, that's all I've got.
Well, then we should be looking at our smorgasbord of news.
Yes, we should.
Good night.
My
Thank you,
gosh.
Disney, last Thursday.
Yes. Oh my gosh! So before we get into the smorgasbord, I'm going to go into one little bit of news.
Is this the thing I posted?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
You may have, may not. All right. So G-Kids,
No, this isn't.
the accomplished distribution of fantastic anime that's come out in the past couple of years,
Among a bunch of other things.
and a bunch of other things, has just announced the voice cast for the upcoming English language dub for the legendary animated house Studio Ghibli's latest feature, Earwig and the Witch.
Ah,
Am I pronouncing that word?
you did? I still don't know why you would name anything Earwig.
Yeah,
It's an odd name. It's British. That's the
that
problem.
is true. That is true.
I'm related. I have British in me, and I don't understand.
Same here. Same here. So yes, the cast of the English dub has been announced. I will, after the stream, I will post those down in the Facebook group.
Okay,
So just let everybody read those.
so that you don't have to try and figure out how to pronounce a lot of those names.
Exactly.
Oh, because it's all in Japanese.
No, it's English.
Oh, it's English. The English class. No,
The
you did
English
say that.
cast. The English cast. All right. So getting into the smorgasbord.
Well, before you get into the smorgasbord,
All right.
I'm going to start off on one that I am extremely excited about.
Okay.
For reasons that I'm sure no one will understand. But anyway, last year
Okay.
we reviewed The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Do you remember one of my dislikes for The Muppet Christmas Carol?
Not off the top of my head. No.
One of my dislikes is that the theatrical cut, which is the version we had,
Yes.
has a song cut out
That's right.
by
yeah.
our favorite
Oh.
president of Disney, Jeffrey Katzenberger.
Katzenberger. Well, technically, he wasn't the president. He was the president over the animation department.
Exactly, and but at this point, he had apparently gotten a little higher because can't think of Jim Henson's son. He directed the movie.
Mm.
Jim Henson's son, who had directed Muppet Christmas Carol,
Yes.
had this song in there because he felt it was very important. But Katzenberger said, "Well, it's a little slow. It's a little too adult for the kids.
Oh gosh.
You don't have to take it out, but have you really thought if this really needs to be there?"
Yeah.
And I believe Henson's quote was, "Well, I do, but I get the feeling you really want me to take it out, so I guess I will." He didn't say that specifically
Right.
to Katzenberger,
Yeah.
but that was the thought he gave in a recent interview about the 4K 4K Blu-ray release
Yeah.
next year, because this was the announcement this year,
Yeah.
of The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Nice.
That is excitement enough for me.
Okay.
Here's the big one.
Okay.
That scene was thought to be lost in at the original widescreen.
Really?
All we had was the TV cut,
Mm.
because they included it in the VHS and TV cut, and that was part of the deal.
Yeah.
So we didn't know we had it till they went to do the restoration on it for the 4K,
Yeah.
and they have the whole scene, and it's going to be in the actual movie this time.
Wow.
Now, I want to explain why this song is so important. Why I think it's so important to the movie.
Okay.
2 reasons. The last song, the song, the movie ends on,
Yeah.
The Love We Found,
Yeah.
is meant to be a mirror of this original song, The Love When Love Is Gone.
Yeah.
Because it's, When Love Is Gone is being sung by Belle, Scrooge's girlfriend, as she's leaving him because he won't step up and take care of his and ask her to marry him.
Yeah.
And she's just like, "I just don't care anymore. I'm leaving. I'm going to go find happier times elsewhere."
Mm.
And they sing the song, and the best part is, of course, you got old Scrooge, played by Michael Caine,
Yeah.
and young Scrooge, played by some guy I don't remember his name.
Right.
My pardons. And young Scrooge is kind of just not reacting.
Okay.
But old Scrooge, you can see his heart breaking as he sees Belle leave.
Mm.
And when you watch the TV cut. And so you've got that reason, like, it's there. And it makes no sense that, while the reprise is there, it's obvious looking back towards something, even though you don't know what it is.
Okay.
Until you get to the end credits, when, how back in this time they would always play a pop music version of the love ballad during the credits, like Somewhere Out There in Fievel, in American Tail,
Yeah.
things like that. They do that here too, but the thing is, the love ballad is When Love Is Gone, because it's not really a love ballad anywhere else in the thing.
Yeah.
And it's about when love is ending, which is kind of the strange thing. This is the song they play at the end of it,
Really?
which is weird,
Agreed.
especially since it's not anywhere else in the movie.
Agreed.
And it's about how horrible love, what life is like when your love is lost.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a weird thing to end on. It's still a weird thing to end on, even if this is in there.
Yeah.
But it's weird that it's there. It's like, okay, that's a thing.
Okay.
But I'm so glad we're going to finally get this in the theatrical widescreen. So if you prefer the cut version, I'm sorry, save your current Blu-ray. I'm happy for this version. Well, I can't guarantee you the original theatrical cut will be preserved. I'm sorry.
Well, that's awesome. I remember you talking about it. You just geeking out. It's like, oh my gosh! Like, I understand. Being like, that movie is a cherish for you. I completely understand it.
It's one of those things where you know how sometimes you'll watch a movie and you think, oh, this is good, and then you watch another version or you watch a deleted scene and you're sitting there going, why was this cut?
Exactly.
This should be in the movie. I don't care if it slows down. I don't care if test audiences hate it. Who cares if the kids fall asleep? This should be in the movie.
And also the idea that like that era would be it's a Katzenberg cut because he did the exact same thing to the Black Cauldron.
We are going to have to do that so we can finally get that out of your system, if nothing else.
Yes.
Plus, I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's a very interesting film. Let's say that. And there's about I think roughly about 25 minutes of the film that has been cut, and a lot of it has been lost to history because Katzenberg demanded that 20 minutes of this film be cut because it was so violent, so just offensive in a lot of ways,
right,
that he literally went into the cutting room floor and cut it himself. Granted, this is a man who's used to running productions, not editing.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
yes. Anyways,
we have.
To happier news.
Yes, we have a metric butt ton.
Yes.
Of news, even though the metric butt ton of news that came out is not all for us, but we do have a couple things.
Yes, we do.
That was in the Disney investor meeting from a couple days ago.
All right, so the Walt Disney Company held its 2020 Investors Day on Tuesday, which would be I don't remember the date, but
wasn't it Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday. Thursday, thank you. On Thursday, detailing
like
the
the
absolute avalanche of new and developing projects across its multi-studio and blockbuster brands over 4 hours of non-stop announcements.
It's almost like they had a lot of stuff planned for this year, but a certain strange occurrence that no one could have accounted for screwed everything up.
Thanks, COVID. All right, so here are a few. Now, if you want the full list, I will put that down in the Facebook group later on. So we are starting off with Raya and the Last Dragon is confirmed for a day and date release on Disney Plus and in theaters March 2021, likely following Mulan's premiere access model.
They have said Raya and the Last Dragon is using the premiere access on Plus.
Yes.
Thankfully, unlike with Mulan, we're not all forced into it.
Yeah,
if we want to watch it the weekend of.
Exactly.
I will be seeing it in the movie theater. You can't stop me.
Yeah.
Or at least, unless the COVID hits us here stronger than I think it will.
Yeah.
More than likely, you will not stop me.
Yeah.
I know of at least one movie theater that will most likely be open. Because I don't think they closed.
Okay. All right, so a teaser was revealed for the studio's fall 2021 original feature, Encanto. The film will take an audience to Colombia to meet a magical family living in a magical home. Bryce Howard and Jared Bush of Oscar-winning Zootopia and director of The Pick, which is... So basically, it's being held by a bunch of really, really good people. So the teaser is out. You can go check it out. It's amazing. So in more live-action hybrid news, which is kind of a hit and miss for everybody, apparently, if you're an animation nerd like us, we are.
Well, we include them, but we have a limit on at what point the animation becomes the point or it becomes a special effect.
Agreed.
And we kind of judge whether we hit that every time we do a movie, so we don't know what the line actually is.
All right. So
we just know Avengers and all that kind of stuff is on the other side.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, either way. So there was a little show back in the 90s. It was kind of a big hit called Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Like huge.
Yeah. I watched it.
Yes.
Along with the show that's over here.
Exactly.
Darkwing Duck.
Original toy. Just saying.
Yes.
So apparently they are doing a live action hybrid of Chippendale Rescue Rangers, which was announced earlier on. They just released the voice cast, which includes John Milden and Andy Serban. I'm probably mispronouncing those names, but you can check them out later. All right, so we have two animated movies coming from Pixar, or this is a TV show and one's a whatever. All right, two brand new feature films are slated for theaters in 2022, which are Turning Red and Lightyear. Let's see.
Lightyear, I am very happy. I'm very excited.
Yes, I am too. I completely agree with you. It's the origin story of Toy Story's heroic Buzz Lightyear. Chris Evans will voice the hero in his journey to becoming the most famous space ranger ever.
My understanding on the way this is going to be approached,
Yeah.
this is not Tim Allen's Buzz Lightyear.
No.
Because Tim Allen's Buzz Lightyear, as we well know, is a toy.
Yes.
And plus, this would be his Buzz Lightyear toy is not the one based on the movie. It's based on the TV show.
Yes.
That was based on the movie, and we're going to see the movie.
Yes.
Is the way my understanding of it goes.
Either way, it sounds amazing. All right. So as previously announced the original Latin Riviera coming of age adventure Luca is coming to theaters next summer. Disney Plus subscribers can expect their Mandalorian addiction. Okay, here we go. All right, this is a good one. All right, so Disney Plus subscribers. So if you are not a subscriber of Disney Plus, jump on this.
This is a good time for people.
Yeah. So if you are a fan of animation, fan of Star Wars, fan of anything Marvel, Disney, what have you, it's ready to jump. Do it.
I mean, the price did just go up, but yes.
Yeah, exactly. We are not being sponsored, so if Disney Plus wants to sponsor us,
we will not stop you.
No, we won't.
We'll take free Disney Plus.
Yeah.
We will
and sponsorship.
We'll shill for free Disney Plus.
Exactly. All right, so Disney Plus subscribers can expect their Mandalorian addiction. I have not watched season 2 yet. I know. Thank you. All right, so
Chase,
I can imagine because I caught a little bit of the conversation on Messenger.
Yes.
It's like, guys, be quiet. Just be quiet.
No,
I didn't.
I found pictures that I knew he'd understand what I was doing, but you would be left completely in the dark.
Right. Well, thank you. I appreciate you're not going to spoil everything for me.
No.
All right, so we are getting 2 new series. The Rangers of the New Republic, which is supposed to be animated, which I'm looking forward to because that's going into much deeper lore, the Star Wars universe, canon, what have you. So that looks like fun. And then also, for those who love the Clone Wars, we are getting a sequel series called Star Wars: The Bad Batch.
Yes.
The Bad Batch, which will air on Disney Plus, I think in 2022 or 21.
I think so.
All right. So, and then we get a certain little, a certain company about 10 something years ago started a movie studio, I think it was, called Marvel Studios.
Yes.
So,
and their animated feature, What If?
Yeah, What If? Oh my gosh!
We talked about this when they announced it almost this time last year.
Yeah.
And I talked about how excited I was for this show.
Yes.
Just by itself, because that is a very cool concept.
Yes.
And some of the clips they showed in the trailer for this made me go, oh, you are going to be good.
Oh, yes.
I mean, at first, there was a part of me that was like, oh, this is going to be like a motion comic, isn't it? For some reason, I don't know why I was thinking that. But then you actually see some of this animation. It's like, no, you're putting real money into this. Let's see it. Come on, get it out. Chop, chop. I want to see it now.
Yes, please.
Of course, I also want to see the other shows that come before it now.
So with that, you'd be like, I watched the trailer and I literally got emotional because we had the segment of T'Challa.
They showed 2 segments. One was the one they kind of told us about way back when, which is what if Agent
Carter.
got the super soldier serum.
Yeah.
So we saw some of that. And then there was, what if Yondu picked up T'Challa instead of Peter
Yeah.
Quill?
Oh, that was so good.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And then be like
And then there's something with zombie Captain America.
Yeah, you get zombie Captain America. You get several other little clips here and there.
We get to see the Watchers.
Yes, we get to see
especially
the Watchers.
Uatu.
Yeah, and the scene that got me, I just my heart stopped for a fraction of a second when I saw this. Be like it's Yondu talking to a much older T'Challa,
Mhm.
and it's voiced by
Yeah, because he recorded all those last year.
yes, I'm
They
forgetting.
recorded all those last year, and we got Chadwick Boseman
Yes,
in one last time.
yeah, one last time.
As T'Challa.
T'Challa.
I won't say Black Panther because he's on the other side of the galaxy probably in this, but
Yeah, as Star-Lord. And I was like, oh, Wakanda forever.
of course that probably means they called him Killmonger. Hey, that's his name, Killmonger.
Killmonger.
He's probably Black Widow. Black Widow.
Black Widow.
Black Panther now.
Oh, boy. We know how that went on in the movie.
Maybe it went to what's his sister's name?
T'Challa's sister?
Yeah,
Maybe?
right. Went to her. I can't think of her name.
Yeah,
right now.
her name is like...
She's the one who I hope gets the mantle in this next one anyway.
Exactly.
So-
Exactly. So, yeah, I am super excited about those, but I'm not done yet.
No.
All right, so I think that's all the news when it comes out of that, the animation-wise. Animation-wise.
Uh-huh.
Now, I may be
Well,
missing something unless...
There is one.
Okay, bring it
that
up.
you did not. It's in the Star Wars stuff.
Okay.
I believe it's called Visions.
Oh, yes, that's
which
right.
is an anime anthology.
That's right. Thank you.
They
Thank
are
you, thank
going
you.
to Japan and getting Japanese anime directors to
Yes.
make
Oh.
scenes animatrix style
Yes.
for Star Wars. Count me, I'm in. I don't even know if I know who half these people are because I doubt they got Miyazaki. I
Yeah.
doubt they got him.
Oh, you never know.
But if we get something like from the people who did, well, of course, the people who do My Hero Academia,
yeah.
Kill la Kill.
Oh.
I don't mean the sexy scenes. I
Yeah.
mean the fight scenes.
Yes. Oh my
I
gosh.
mean the amazing fight scenes. That's
Yes.
the ones I want to see. A Jedi and a Sith fighting like that, please.
Yes. So we got Visions. Obviously, thank you for bringing that up. One last little bit of news. So for anybody who loves anime, loves anime, probably knows about the Crunchyroll app.
Yes.
So
Just
apparently,
recently got bought by Sony.
yes, they did. So Sony Pictures Entertainment and AT&T Incorporated announced that AT&T has agreed to sell its Crunchyroll anime business to Funimation Global Company LLC.
Mm-hmm.
Funimation is in joint venture between Sony Pictures and Sony Music Entertainment. So
the way that works out is technically it's being owned by Sony, the two different divisions within Sony
Yeah.
as a co-thing because Sony's owned animation stuff over in Japan,
yeah,
you would think is not actually under Sony Pictures.
really
It's under Sony Music Group.
interesting.
I don't know why,
That is weird.
but their big thing, their big studio, Aniplex,
Yeah.
who you might know from such things as Full Metal Alchemist,
Yes.
they are owned by Sony Music.
Yeah.
So, in order to make sure that Funimation gets the stuff a lot easier,
Yeah.
especially since they technically made the dubs that they ought to be
Mhm.
using, they're technically co-owned.
Okay.
But I want to throw this out there for people who are scared that Crunchyroll is no longer going to be semi-independent and it's going to start Americanizing all their stuff. We are not getting donuts. We are not getting randomly turning people from blackface into white, because they shouldn't be doing that anyway.
Yeah.
But we're not getting into this weird stuff to try and make it easier for American children to tolerate. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because Funimation isn't for kids. I got into a debate earlier this week on another Facebook group. I'm not going to go there. I'm sure they'll find me anyway. But this person was posting tons of stuff. It's like, oh, all this horrible stuff's going to be happening to all our anime because Crunchyroll is the last bastion of subtitled-only stuff. It's like, you know what? Have you actually watched a Funimation dub? I'm not saying they're perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not, but they are probably the ones who are trying the most to be accurate. They're trying, Viz is getting pretty close too. But, I mean, it's not like we're getting Pokemon.
Right.
We're not getting the One Piece rap.
Yeah.
We're not getting Ghost Stories. Even though Ghost Stories dub is hilarious.
Yes.
But that's not what we're getting. We're getting probably, all this is probably going to be is that Crunchyroll will be the subtitle side of things. Much like it was director. It's probably going to be back during the Crunchyroll, like it was during the Crunchyroll Funimation partnership.
Yeah.
Back before Sony bought Funimation.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be like that.
Okay.
For being honest.
Okay. I gotcha. So
Crunchyroll will handle subbed only. Funimation will have the dub only.
All right.
You can probably watch both from the same app because I bet you Sony's going to somehow combine them. And probably going to be handled by Crunchyroll because, let's face it, Sony probably needs its own streaming app at this point.
Probably.
And PlayStation Store is not doing it.
All right, so that's all that is in the news.
So, shall we jump into the spoiler-free section of our review of Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas?
Yep.
Alrighty. So, this was my first viewing.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know, this is technically, like Fantasia, a selection of shorts in which kind of a interstitial narration is given to kind of connect everything together, even though there is not an overarching story between these three, other than it's Christmas, and we should all be happy it's Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is kind of a Groundhog Day Christmas kind of a thing.
Yes.
The second one is Goofy and Max trying to figure out if Santa Claus exists.
Yes.
And the third one is Mickey and Minnie doing Gift of the Magi
Yes.
by O. Henry. All three of these shorts I thoroughly enjoyed, and the interstitial stuff I liked too. It's always nice hearing Kelsey Grammer's voice on anything. But yeah, the whole thing was fun and enjoyable, and if you've never seen it, I do highly suggest going and giving it a watch.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Your thoughts?
My thoughts. This is my first viewing, like you just said. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It had a lot of very tender, touching moments. It was like, oh wow, they got to that level of emotion. That's really good, and just beautifully animated, wonderful stories, and yeah, it was very heartfelt and it was very good. So yeah.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our spoiler-free section. So join us on the other side of the bumper, and we will spoil the heck out of these three Christmas classic shorts.
Oh boy!
I almost clicked in the wrong window.
Ray, we're wrong. Okay. This progress is a part of Christian Geek Central Network. Wrong. Hey, Scoop, what are you doing, man? I don't know. I'm supposed to be reading an ad. All right, hold on. Give me it. Okay.
All right. This podcast is part of the Christian Geek Central Network at ChristianGeekCentral.com.
There you can find a collection of blogs and podcasts working together to bring you some of the best content on the web for Christian geeks, such as the Christian Geek Central Podcast, the flagship of the Christian Geek Central Network, the CGC Podcast, previously known as the Spirit Blade Underground Podcast, is a weekly 30 to 60 minute biblical examination and celebration of geek entertainment and passions. It features reviews, interviews, and conversations about movies, tabletop games, video games, books, comics, TV shows, and a widening variety of other entertainment. Also included is a chapter-by-chapter examination of the Bible and its specific application for geeks. Hosted by Peter Franson of Spirit Blade Productions, the show also features listener-submitted content and segments created by other members of the CGC network.
The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. Listener discretion is advised. Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas was directed by Bradley Raymond for the Donald Duck Stuck on Christmas segment, He also directed The Lion King 1.5. June Falkenstein for A Very Goofy Christmas. He also directed Scooby-Doo and Arabian Nights. Bill Spears, also for A Very Goofy Christmas, directed something called Top Wing. Toby Shelton, who did Mickey and Minnie's Gift to the Magi and the interstitial animations, also directed The Return of Jafar. And Alex Mann, who was the overall director for the project.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything else he directed, but he was in the animation department for Oliver and Company and a Goofy movie.
Huh. Okay.
Donald Duck Stuck on Christmas was written, the screenplay was written by Charlie Cohen. It is inspired by the short story Christmas Every Day by William Dean Howells. A Very Goofy Christmas, the screenplay was written by Scott Gordon, Tom Nance, and Carter Crocker. And Mickey and Minnie's Gift to the Magi. The story was by Alex Mann and Ross Hastings. Screenplay by Richard Cray and Temple Matthews. And it is based on the story by O. Henry. Which I don't think is what I said earlier. But anyway. The music for all of this was by J. Eric Schmidt. He also wrote the music for Tasmania and the Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries.
Huh.
The cast includes Kelsey Grammer as the narrator, and he's most famous for playing Frasier Crane in Cheers and Frasier, and he's also Beast in the X-Men movies, or at least all the old X-Men movies at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Before I go any further in the cast list, everybody else in the cast list is in Kingdom Hearts.
Surprise, surprise to no one.
Exactly. So, I will only be saying who they played in Kingdom Hearts if it's somebody besides what they're playing here.
Ah, okay.
Just to get that out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so, starting at the top, Wayne Allwine is Mickey Mouse. He played a pirate in Shining Time Station.
Ah.
Russie Taylor was Minnie Mouse. Huey, Dewey, and Louie. She played Pebbles Flintstone in the Flintstones and WWE Stone Age SmackDown.
Oh, gosh.
I'm sorry, when I saw that, I had to bring that one up.
Yes, I completely agree.
Tony Anselmo played Donald Duck. And did you know he was the mayor in the Real Ghostbusters TV show?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Huh.
Diane Michelle, who played Daisy Duck, but only in the Gift of the Magi segment, played the President of the United States of America, female voice 2, as she was as the President was the player character, and you could customize it and have it be played by different genders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In Saints Row 4,
Okay.
Tress MacNeille played Daisy, Chip, and Aunt Gertie, and of course she is known as playing Princess Angelina Contessa Louisa Francesca Banana Bana Fofesca III, but you can call her Dot Warner in Animaniacs.
By
We started off the year with that. I had to end it.
So are you actually watching Animaniacs?
I have not watched past what we watched. What you walked in on me the other night on.
Okay.
But what I have enjoyed is good. It's just it feels a little modern, let's say, and not in the way I would prefer.
Not in the spirit of what?
There's some. It was like that in the original, but it's hitting me different because you can kind of tell they're writing for adults. Anyway,
Okay. All right.
Alan Young played Uncle Scrooge McDuck. He was Wilbur Post in Mr. Ed, and Hiram Flaversham in The Great Mouse Detective. Bill Farmer was Goofy in Pluto,
Yep.
and he played Sylvester and Yosemite Sam in Space Jam.
You know that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally hear it.
Corey Burton plays Dale. He was Count Dooku in Star Wars The Clone Wars.
Who was this again?
Corey Burton
Corey-
played Dale.
Corey Burton.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Sean Fleming
Mhm.
played young Max Goof, and he played both Jim and Tim Possible in Kim Possible.
Okay.
And in Kingdom Hearts, he played Tidus.
Ha 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 ha.
Except this is younger, young Titus in this one. Yeah, there you go. Jim Cummings was Pete, the postmaster, Santa Claus, police, fire chief, dad, and man. He played and he played Winnie the Pooh in Winnie the Pooh 2011.
Ah.
Jeff Bennett played Mortimer and firefighter number 2, and the store announcer, and man, and customer, and dad. And he was Johnny Bravo in Johnny Bravo. Our good buddy Frank Welker was the turkey and Figaro, and he is the voice of the Cave of Wonders in both Aladdin movies, if I remember correctly, and Experiment 221 in Kingdom Hearts. Sparky.
Ah.
Not a fun fight. Mae Whitman played Girl. She was Roxy Richter in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and Yuffie Kisaragi in Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
Last but not... Oh, no, sorry, not there yet. Chris Sanders played the London Captain.
Ah.
He played Stitch in Lilo and Stitch and Kingdom Hearts. And last but not least, Greg Berger played additional voices. He was Deckman in Alita Battle Angel
Ah.
and Eeyore in Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, bother.
Indeed. So that brings me to the end of the cast list. What do we have, if anything, in info and stuff?
All right, so it's pretty straightforward. You can watch it right now on Disney Plus, obviously. It has a score on Rotten Tomatoes of 40, and its audience score is 66. Production company, and I'm going to get this right, Walt Disney Television Animation and Disney Video Premiere. It was distributed by Walt Disney Home Video. Its release date was November 9th, 1999. Now, there's no, how much it made in theaters. I don't know if it went to theaters.
I don't think it did. I believe this was direct to video.
Yeah, I think so. So, I couldn't find any, real hard data on it. Well, correction? No, I'm actually looking at it right now. Never mind. Don't you love when you look up and you think, oh, yeah, I've got nothing else. Oh, yeah, it's right here.
Yeah.
The film was originally released on VHS, that thing way back in the day.
Yeah.
That, kids used to watch before Blu-ray and digital.
Mm-hmm.
It was released
back
on...
when things were on a tape instead of a disc.
Yeah, exactly. So VHS and DVD on November 9th, 1999. They were still doing VHS in 1999. That's just still wow.
Well, you have to remember, Frozen in some countries
Yeah.
was released on VHS.
Wow. That would be an interesting to get and put a collection.
Yeah.
It was later re-released on VHS and on DVD as part of the Walt Disney Gold Classic Series on November 7th, 2000. The film was released on a 2-movie collection, Blu-ray and DVD, Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas on November 4th, 2014. That's all I got.
All right. The way we're going to handle this one, ladies and gentlemen, is much like Fantasia. We're going to handle each short separately. So I'm going to read the summary, and then we'll get into our one like and one dislike apiece for each short. So, Donald Duck's Stuck on Christmas. Inspired by the 1892 short story Christmas Every Day by William Dean Howells, Huey, Dewey, and Louie wake up one Christmas morning and open their presents, even though they're supposed to wait first for Daisy, Uncle Scrooge, and Aunt Gertie to arrive. After the boys take their new sleds from their Uncle Donald, not reading the included card, they go sledding and have Christmas dinner in which Donald yells at them to learn their manners. While Donald, Daisy, Uncle Scrooge, and Aunt Gertie sing carols, the boys play with their new toys. Later, it is time for the boys to go to bed, and having enjoyed the day immensely, the boys then wish for it to be Christmas every day. Their wish is granted, and at first the three are joyful. After a few days, however, they begin to get tired of Christmas, and soon realize that every day will be exactly the same as the day they made their wish. They then decide to change the course of action of the next day by playing tricks and pranks, including swapping the cooked turkey with a live one for the dinner table. It turns out to be a terrible Christmas for everyone, especially Donald. Shortly after the boys read the card they were given to them earlier by Donald and Daisy, the card wishes them love and explains that Christmas is not about presents, it is also about being with family. The boys feel guilty and decide to make amends by making the next day the best Christmas ever. At the end of the next day, the boys finally realize the true meaning of Christmas, and the time loop ends, leading into the day after Christmas. So my first my like for this short, I'm gonna have to go with the time loop.
Okay.
This is one of the reasons I also like the movie Groundhog Day, because, and admittedly, this does fall into some of the same traps.
Yeah.
The first day is generally okay. The second day, when they realize the time's repeating, at first they might be confused, but then, they get into like, oh, they have all the good times. Like, well, the first day was good. Why wouldn't this day even be even better?
Yeah.
And then the third day happens, and then the fourth day, and then they realize things aren't going to change. Now, unlike Groundhog Day, they catch on a lot quicker, and they don't try to kill themselves first.
So they're smarter than Bill Murray.
Well, that doesn't take much. I am mostly teasing, and I mostly said that for Jacob's benefit. But, well, that and this had to be a 15-minute short.
Yeah.
15 to 30-minute short. That had to be a 2-hour movie.
Yes.
So, yeah, it had to take a little bit longer. Anyway, the fact that they're actually able to use the quote-unquote wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey to their advantage in many ways in order to both enhance their own ends in the first times through, and the last time through when they try to make it best for everybody, I enjoy. And thinking, how are they going to get out of this next one? And honestly, that last bad one where they're pulling pranks on everybody,
Yeah.
I felt sorry for Donald.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I am not a big fan of Donald, some of that being based on the fact that he can't heal. But that's beside the point.
Just hating on Donald.
But I actually felt sorry for Donald because he tried his best, and the boys did everything they could to ruin Christmas. And so I very much felt appreciated at the end when they took their sleds and turned it into a boat for Donald.
Oh, yeah.
Which promptly crashed.
Of course, it's Donald.
Yeah, it's Donald, who we should not be surprised at this point.
No.
So yeah, that's pretty much what I liked about it. It's like, I love the timey-wiminess of it.
Okay. My first and only like for this short would be the lesson in which the boys learn that it's not about the gifts, it's about the heart. It's about what the meaning behind the gift. And I think that's like a lot of children, a lot of young adults come to at some point, that like Christmas is like, yeah, the presents are great, and we do take a lot of we take away more like, oh, I got this amazing gift, but it's not we don't take the heart, we don't take the passion, what people have done in order to have that done. And so growing up with two younger brothers and parents who work their absolute butts off, I can definitely appreciate the things in which my parents, some Christmases it was awesome beyond belief, and then it was more like,
well, they tried.
They tried, and I know I wasn't appreciative as I should have been, and I now from hindsight, it's just like you see like the sacrifice they did, the things they had to do in order to make Christmas the way it happened, and I just truly appreciate the level at which they went to of saying that it's about the heart that matters, where it comes from, and it's not. They're like, oh, I didn't get the
PlayStation 5.
Yeah, I didn't get the Scarlet or anything like that. Yeah. I didn't get the new game I wanted. But it's a heart matters, and I think it's a lesson that a lot of people need to learn. And like people our age still do that.
Oh yeah.
And younger and older, so just don't appreciate what people give them. Well, I don't want that. It's the heart that matters.
Exactly.
It's the intent that matters.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's what I loved about this short. I loved it. All right.
My dislike for this is during the dancing during the Christmas carols,
Okay.
because I do not know what Aunt Gertie is doing,
That is true.
or really any of the boys once they are in the last part of it.
yeah.
I don't know what any of them are doing. They're waving their hands up and down.
Yeah.
Strangely, it's like, is this a duck dance I don't know about? Because this just seems awkward, and I'd rather you just kind of hug each other, side hug each other, and just be done with it instead of this weird kind of arm up and down fist pump motion. It's like, because I don't know what you're doing.
I got you.
And it was just the most awkward. It's probably the most awkward thing in the entire movie, if we're being honest.
I gotcha.
Not just this one short.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, Gertie's dancing.
Gertie's dancing.
Do we wish you a Merry Christmas?
I got you.
Though I do have to say, Alan Young singing is a treasure.
Yes. Gotcha. My dislike, I really don't have a dislike for this one. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's very fun. The boys trying to avoid Aunt Gertie's kisses, which is hilarious. They can't escape it,
Right.
which is funny as can be.
Also, the turkey lives,
The turkey lives.
which is strangely disturbing when you realize that turkey they're eating the ham with was their dinner before. They've eaten that turkey 5 times at least.
Yeah. Oh,
He's
gosh.
digesting. They're still digesting him, at least once.
Well, yeah, but if
while
it's
they're eating dinner with him.
yeah, that's just that is all kinds of gross. All kinds of gross.
That's the timey-wiminess of it.
That's true. That's true. The fact
Also,
that
birds eating turkeys.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not quite
It's kind of
cannibalism,
but
but it's close.
It's close. It's very, very close. The fact that we hear Uncle Donald, not Uncle, but Uncle Scrooge,
Yes.
like the original voice actor for Uncle Scrooge.
Uh-huh.
I was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I was halfway expecting to hear Darkwing Duck show up.
Well, Jim Cummings was in this somewhere.
Yeah, Jim Cummings was in it.
But he wasn't Darkwing.
Yeah, I was like, oh. I was. That's not a dislike. I was just more like, oh, we don't get any Darkwing Duck. That would have been funny.
Soon.
But soon.
Get a new Darkwing Duck soon.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I forgot to talk about that.
We'll come back to that later.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
So since we were already talking about stuff involving the Disney afternoon,
Yes.
why don't we go into the shorts involving characters we primarily know from the Disney afternoon?
Yes.
A very goofy Christmas.
Yup.
Goofy and Max are mailing out a letter to Santa Claus. However, as soon as they get home, Pete the neighbor tells Max that Santa does not exist. Predicting that he cannot fly around the world in one night, things get worse when Goofy poses as Santa for some kids, and Max finds out that he tricked him. Goofy is determined to prove to Max that Santa does exist, and even stays up all Christmas Eve to keep an eye out for him, while Max, still bitter over Goofy's trickery, wishes for him to move on. But after a long time, and after mistaking a Beagle Boy, who was robbing Pete's house, for Santa and falling off the roof, Goofy gives up hope of Santa coming. Now, Max does everything that Goofy did to make his father happy, including posing as Santa. In the end, the real Santa actually comes and gives Max the gift he had asked for earlier, as well as blowing some snow on Pete's house, when the cunning neighbor tries to flatter the legendary figure. When Max asks if Santa forgot Goofy's present, Goofy answers that every year he asks for the same thing, and every year he always gets it. Max's happiness. Oh, this segment of Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas chronologically precedes the cartoon series Goof Troop, and Max is, of course, voiced by Sean Fleming,
Yes.
which technically means it's also before a Goofy movie.
Yes. Because Max is much younger.
Yes. So, my first like with this, we get Goof Troop at a
Yes!
young age. Goof Troop was one of those where I know I watched it and I know I enjoyed the fool out of it.
Yeah.
But because it came after Darkwing Duck when it was released, it's kind of like, oh yeah, Goof Troop existed. I forgot. Because in some ways, I just think of Max from a Goofy movie. I forget that he was in Goof Troop. I don't know why that is.
Well, also the fact be like, I have never watched a Goofy movie, so I know Goof Troop. So watching this is like,
I
oh,
know
okay.
why we're doing this next, coming soon. You've not watched a Goofy movie?
No, I've never watched a Goofy movie.
I am so happy. You will like this, trust me.
Oh yeah.
You will like this.
Okay.
I know it's a comedy, but I think you're going to get into the groove.
Well, it's Goofy comedy, so it's going to be good.
yes.
Just like this short was.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that this short and a Goofy movie, 'cause
Yes.
I'm going to, now that I know Goofy movie is definitely on the table soon, they are also within the concept of Goofy,
Yes.
of Goof Troop. So, yeah. Plus, we get to hear Pauly Shore in Goofy movie.
Okay.
Asking about why everyone wears gloves.
Oh.
And then we never saw that character again.
Wow. Okay.
He knows too much. Anyway, yeah. We get back to this specific thing. Goof Troop was, like I said, one of those shows I watched as a kid, even though because it came out after Darkwing, it's in that part of my mind. It's like, oh yes, this happened too. But I do remember enjoying the show, and of course, love Goofy movie. And it's just nice to see. That's the thing. I don't, because of the age I grew up with, I don't think of Goofy as his own character.
Okay.
Because I always think of him as Max's dad.
Yeah.
Despite the fact I know Goofy had a long and storied history before Goof Troop.
Yeah.
Except a young Max, though he was not called Max, did appear in an old Goofy cartoon.
Yeah, that's right.
From the 50s.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of it.
Me either, but I
It
remember
does.
seeing
It does.
it.
I think they just call him Goof Jr. or something.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
Goof Jr.
But it's essentially Max.
Yeah.
Maximilian. So yeah, I just like we get more Goofy, more of that Goof Troop flavor, even if this is a prequel to Goof Troop.
Yeah.
Plus, I just like Max as a character.
Yeah. I agree. I completely agree with you on that. Just Max, just like at a young age before we get Goof Troop Max, is still that little. He's starting to grow up and be like he's getting into his teens, but he's still a little kid, and so he's floating in between there.
Yeah.
And that's a fun age. That's a fun age for any, like, you know, just watching children at that age is a very fun, fun age.
Yes.
And
he's just as cynical and sarcastic as he is later on.
Oh, yeah.
Despite he's also not.
Exactly.
Makes him great.
Just his characterization is just so much fun.
We just don't get any of PJ in this.
No, we don't get PJ.
Why no PJ?
I don't know.
Was Pete making him clean the pool during the middle of winter again?
Maybe.
Because he would.
Yeah, that's Pete. Stupid cat.
Do you know when I realized Pete and PJ were cats? 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I just thought they were weirdly shaped dogs.
Yep. Nope. They're cats.
They're cats. It's like, duh. Why did I not notice this before?
Oh, all right. So going into my would sound almost like a dislike, but it's so perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Goofy's depression.
Because Goofy is the guy who's always trying.
Exactly.
He wants nothing but... When Goofy wants something, he goes wholeheartedly into it. You can see this in all the Goofy cartoons.
Oh, yeah.
So when he's trying to be a good father for Max...
Oh, yeah.
You cannot help but love the guy.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's doing everything he can.
And he pours his heart out into everything.
Oh, yes. Even if what he's doing doesn't make any sense.
No, of course not. But
he's trying so hard.
He is. But that moment where, like, even Goofy gives up.
Yes.
The fact that Goofy, the most lovable goofball in the world, gives up. He finally gives up on the idea that Sandy's never coming. He's never coming. He gets depressed. I'd be like, in some of the old shorts, you saw Goofy depressed or something like that. But
it was a comical depression.
It was a comical depression. This wasn't comical.
No.
It was just like downright depression. It was like, oh my gosh, this character who everybody loves is down and out. Like, just like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's like, oh, I was heartbroken. Oh my gosh. Like, I was, and then Max comes to the rescue and pulls a Goofy and is just like trying to get Goofy to, liven up. And finally, Santa does show up and then we get Goofy again.
This preview of our review of the Goofy movie brought to you by... I'm not kidding. You just described a Goofy movie in many ways.
Okay.
I'm just saying you're gonna repeat yourself in about a month.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
No spoilers.
No spoilers at all.
I know a little bit about the
A
Goofy movie, a little bit.
I'll put it this way. One of the very first CDs I ever owned was the soundtrack to this movie.
Wow.
I have it back there somewhere, but I've since gotten the MP3, the Apple Music version.
Yeah.
I still know all the songs.
Wow.
I will be singing along when I rewatch this movie, without the subtitles on. It was one of the. If I had ever owned this on VHS, it would have been wore out.
Wow. Okay.
But it
Wow.
wasn't because I never actually got to own this movie. I probably only saw it as a kid 3 times.
So do you now own it?
Yes.
Okay.
I have it on Blu-ray. Thank you, Disney Movie Club, before I dropped you like a hot potato.
All right. Excellent. So yeah, mine was the low point of the film where Goofy gave up. And then Max rose to the occasion where in this movie, like, he was discovering that Santa wasn't real.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was Goofy trying to encourage his son the entire time. But when the time came that Santa would come, Santa hadn't arrived yet. And so now we have a very, exceedingly depressed Goofy.
Mm-hmm.
And something you never see.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said earlier, be like you see it more for comedic effect.
Yes.
This was just more
This is more of a heartbreak.
This was heartbreak. And then you have Max being Max, pulls a Goofy.
Yes.
And I love that. That was so, it was so heartwarming and touching that it was, one, heartbreaking, exceedingly heartbreaking to see that character do that, to go through that. And then you can see that joy of Max trying to cheer his dad up, which is just, I love that scene. And then Sandy shows up and just brings everything back to life. So it was good. And be like, also these have like very interesting social dynamics.
Yeah.
Each one of them do. Like the first one is more upper class, kind of upper class, maybe lower lower upper class, a little bit.
I'd call it upper middle.
Upper middle.
You
Uh,
kind of get the feeling that, the Ducks are, they're not well off, but they're well off enough that they don't really have anything to worry about.
Yeah, and then you have Goofy and
they're on the
Max.
Lower middle class, I think. They're obviously not rich. There's at least a mother missing, which has always been the case.
Yeah.
And they've got stuff, but they don't have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's more being grateful for everything, like the example from the first short.
Yes. So sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that was so incredibly moving to watch. I'm watching this work during my break.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, wow. The depth and emotion you get there. And it's not for comedic effect. It's downright depression. And depression is not fun. So if you have depression, go talk to somebody. Do not hold that in.
Yes.
So yes, my number one like for our second short was the fact that Goofy got depressed. And that's a weird one, but that's what I loved it.
Goofy is not a character you would think of would be very deep.
Yeah.
And yet they allow him to be deep in this.
Oh yeah, it's such a character. It's such a character break from the usual norm of, hey, I'm Goofy.
Yeah. So, my dislike.
Okay.
Max's attitude when they're visiting the poor family.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh my word, this is not the Max I know.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, I can see Max being selfish
Yeah.
and putting his wants in front of everybody else's.
Yeah.
But he's not the kind of and in many ways I can understand once he realizes his dad's playing Santa Claus. I
Yeah.
understand that part.
Yeah.
He's allowed I don't mind him pouting after that learning.
Yeah.
Because now he feels lied to.
Yeah.
I understand that part. It's before Goofy Claus
Yeah.
shows up.
Yeah.
That while you're in the past, it's like, Max, no, this is not you. You're not like this. You would at the very least put on a brave face and not say stuff that would make you sound so inconsiderate. You would at least, you should be, if this was the Max I know and love,
Yeah.
you would be slowly on your way to learning the lesson at this point in the movie, only for Goofy to screw it up, which is what happens anyway.
True.
But you won't even get anywhere near learning the message of this short at this point. You're still going, but you only got one toy. Don't you want two? You can have so many more. You can ask Santa Claus for everything. Why does Santa only give you one thing when he is giving me a giant skateboard? And then, instead of allowing the kids to go talk to Goofy Claus first, I recognize Max is excited
Yeah.
because he was concerned that Santa Claus didn't get his letter in time.
Oh, yeah.
He should have still allowed he's a visitor in the house. He should have let the other kids go first.
Oh, yeah.
Because they obviously would need Christmas stuff more than he would.
Exactly.
If it was coming from just from his perspective.
Oh, yeah.
But no, he jumps ahead and says, I want this super expensive thing.
Yeah.
Now, he gets the super expensive thing at the end. I don't really care if he gets it
Yeah.
or not. But that's flaunting your wants and desires in front of people who are happy to get a third toy car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Max, this is not you. And I'm so glad that if this is any part of you, you grew out of it by Goof Troop.
Very, very true.
And definitely by a Goofy movie.
Yes.
Anywho, your dislike if you got one.
My dislike... Oh, that was a good point. That was a very, very good point. Mine would be... Oh, that darn cat. That darn cat. Pete. I knew his name. I was just like, he's a cat.
I will say that one of the best parts of this, and I have to say it's got to be somewhat of a shout out
Mm-hmm.
to the Santa Claus.
Okay.
When they go, oh, look, it's Santa Claus on the roof of Pete's house. And the spotlight goes up there, and it's a Beagle Boy. That's the exact opposite of what happens in the Santa Claus.
Yes.
Because like, oh, someone's about to break into our house. Oh, no, it's Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And they both still fall off the roof.
Yeah.
But that was a brilliant spot. Sorry, I
Yes.
interrupted.
No.
Continue.
It was
What? Talk about how horrible a pert cat Pete is.
Pete, just be like Pete being Pete, because I'd be like, I grew up watching Goof Troop for the most part. Like you, I was more interested in Darkwing Duck than anything else. So the fact that Pete is this very unloving character that it's like, oh,
He always is.
He always is, but it was more like, wait, you're spoiling, you're ruining a childhood just because you want to spite somebody.
Yes.
Like, you inconsiderate furball.
Now, I will say this. Pete, ironically,
Yeah.
gets a little bit of a sympathy note
Okay.
in Kingdom Hearts,
Okay.
since he's Maleficent's second in command.
Yeah, his Dragoon.
Ergoon, yes. And it is funny seeing him having to grovel to Maleficent.
Just I completely understand that this is Pete's character. This is how this character acts. But to spoil Christmas, well, he doesn't, but he more plants the seed of doubt in, poor Max's head that, there is no Santa Claus. And it's just more like when I was a kid growing up, I learned there was no Santa Claus when I went into the living room to go get a drink from the kitchen, and seeing my father putting Christmas presents out,
You know,
like assembling things. Is like, and that's where I learned.
You know, I am so glad that the person who broke the Santa Claus rule was not me.
Okay.
I was trying not to ever mention if Santa Claus was real or not on the show.
Oh wow.
Not because I think it's controversial, since I didn't want to break any kid's heart.
I gotcha.
But I'm not editing it out. You broke the rule. We're moving on.
Okay, good.
Adults, you'll have to deal with the kids yourself.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all Jacob's fault.
Yeah, you can blame me.
Silly doggy.
Exactly. At least I'm not a cat. But yeah, it's,
Hey, as a cat person, Pete is not a cat.
okay,
He is a mangy feline.
okay, I gotcha. So
But he's not a cat.
okay. But yeah,
You know
it's-
there's a difference.
yes, there's definitely a difference. So yeah, it's Pete spoiling something that a child should learn naturally, and not be
Yeah.
a seed of doubt being poised in his head.
Of course, we do realize by the end of this that Pete was completely full of himself because Santa Claus did actually show up.
Yeah, so Santa Claus
is
real.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Moving on.
yes,
Did you get finished with your dislike?
yes.
there, or-
That mangy
mangy feline.
feline.
All right, jumping into the last segment. Short, whatever we want to call it. Mickey and Minnie's Gift of the Magi, which is based on the 1905 short story The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry. Mickey wants to get Minnie a gold chain for her one heirloom, her watch. So he works at Crazy Pete's tree lot. Minnie wants to give Mickey something special for Christmas as well, so she works hard at her job in a department store to get a special bonus. When Mickey gives a short tree to a poor family who are unable to buy a Pete's 10-footer tree, his uptight and greedy boss Pete steals all of Mickey's money and dismisses him from the store. Then, Pete accidentally puts his still-lit cigar into his pocket with Mickey's money without noticing, which eventually sets himself, the money, and his trees on fire, destroying his chance to sell his expensive 10-footers. And if that had been the entire short, I would be in good shape. But, meanwhile, Minnie's bonus from her stingy boss, Mortimer Mouse, proves to be nothing but a fruitcake, a la Christmas Vacation. After playing music for a toy drive with the Firehouse 5, Mickey has the idea that he can trade his harmonica for the chain. The shop closes by the time he gets there, and the owner rejects it, thinking it's not worth anything, but changes his mind after hearing its music. Back at Minnie's house, Mickey gives her the chain for her watch, and Minnie gives him a case for his harmonica. Of course, the irony is that Minnie no longer has her watch, just as Mickey no longer has his harmonica. So the gifts are essentially useless. As in The Gift of the Magi, upon which this adaptation, penned by O. Henry, is based, the thought behind each gift is what counts. The entire film concludes with a medley of various songs, Jingle Bells, Deck the Halls, and We Wish You a Merry Christmas, featuring the main characters from the three segments. And I would also like to point out that it actually starts with a bunch of Christmas carols.
Yes, it does.
All of which are based on the Christian side of Christmas, I noticed.
True.
Which I don't think they thought about.
Probably
at the
not.
time.
Probably not.
But I'm just pointing that out there. So yeah. My first like about The Gift of the Magi
Yeah.
is Pete's lot going up in flames. Because here's the thing. Pete is always the lovable oaf.
Yes.
And he had to play the villain in this because, quite frankly, both Mickey and Minnie had to face their quote-unquote villainous counterparts.
Yes.
Pete's is Mickey's from way back in the original Mickey Mouse cartoon, Steamboat Willie.
Yes.
And Mortimer Mouse was always Minnie Mouse's, what's the word I'm looking for? Stalker?
Yeah. Stalker.
For lack of a better term?
Yeah. Stalker.
So him being the her villain that she would have to put up with also makes sense. Also, as I said earlier, the fact that Daisy has a different voice actress in this cut is weird. But while Pete is still the lovable oaf in this, he goes quite a step too far
Yeah,
for forgiveness, and you really just do not like what he does in this, and that's intentional because it's got to give Mickey a reason not to be able to pay for his gift.
Mhm.
So it's hilarious to see that before Mickey can get very far, that Pete has hoisted himself upon his own petard and burnt everything to the ground, including the money he stole from Mickey,
Hubris is wonderful, isn't it?
including his glorious 10-foot Christmas trees, or as it calls it, 10-footers. Literally, that's how they even categorize that section, 10-footers. And of course, I'm still thinking, okay, when does this short take place?
About the 50s.
The 50s. Who had a 12-foot ceiling in the 50s?
And they were like $100, and that was
Yeah.
like a lot of money in the 50s.
He should have had 5 total of those and sold them to the rich ones.
Yeah.
Not, oh, we got to get this tree. We don't need a big one. We only got a small house. No, we're going to sell you a 10-footer. Pete is downright detestable in this in the way he should be.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the thing when you compare this Pete to the Pete in A Very Goofy Christmas.
Yeah.
They are different Petes.
Yeah.
They're the same character, but they're very different Petes because that's Goof Troop's Pete, where he's just an annoyance that makes life harder for Goofy and Max.
Yeah.
This is Steamboat Willie Pete,
Oh, yeah.
who is evil and should be taught many lessons,
well, in this
usually
one,
with fire.
Yeah, with this one, he learned the very valuable lesson of hubris.
Exactly.
And-
So yeah,
Oh, good night.
yeah, seeing because that's the other thing, because Pete's tree lot catches on fire,
Mhm.
Mickey has a chance to at least try to earn some money
Mhm.
when the firemen's charity auction. He doesn't earn money, but at least do some good
Yeah.
at the charity auction when the band isn't there to play because they're all trying to put out Pete's fire. So he's at least able to get the charity going. He's allowed to do that one thing. So yeah, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. It gives Mickey the excuse to have one last good time with his harmonica,
Mm-hmm.
and it also lets Pete learn a valuable lesson about, not stealing.
Yeah. I do want to point out one thing when you're like the animation of where Pete throws Goofy and not Goofy but Mickey and Pluto out.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the animation is so I love how the animation is where Pete literally he's just his waddle, his walk is so incredible. He walks like a very large cat.
Yeah.
And so the fact to be he sticks the money and his cigar in his back pocket
At the
same time.
And you're sitting there going, that's not going to be good.
No, it's not. But it's beautiful. It's beautifully
But the
animated.
thing is, when I saw that and I saw him do this, okay, I assumed, that what's going to happen there is going to happen off screen, and we're not going to get to see that.
Uh-huh.
And I keep expecting the screen to shift to Mickey walking despondently down the street while we hear fire engines in the distance, is my assumption.
No.
But no, that's not what we immediately get. What we immediately get is the fire catching on at his obviously very dry Christmas tree lot. Because I have a feeling those Christmas trees have not been watered.
No, I'm pretty sure.
That would take money.
Yeah.
And that's not something he's going to do.
No, he's cheap.
Exactly.
He's a cheap
So
cat.
those things went up like a
Roman
pile
candle.
of sticks. Because that's all they were at that point.
Right. Yes. Oh man, that was such a great scene. Such a great scene. Okay,
Your first like.
my first
Or
like.
your like, I should
My
say.
like for this particular segment would be the very poignant moment where both Mickey and Minnie are giving their gifts and what they had to sacrifice in order to get the gift.
Mhm.
It was so as an audience member, you knew what happened.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't know what Minnie did. You knew what Mickey did.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. If you've ever heard the story of the Gift of the Magi.
Yeah.
Even if you've only heard a brief description, you knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Mickey and Minnie were going to give up the thing that the other one was going to buy them an accessory to, so that the gifts are going to be utterly useless.
Yeah.
And at least we didn't have to see Minnie bald in this.
Yeah. Okay.
Because in the original one, the guy is buying a hair clip for his girlfriend, wife,
Yeah.
and she shaves her head
Mm.
to sell the hair to a wig maker,
Yeah.
so that she can buy whatever his gift was.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it is. So at least we don't have to get bald Minnie.
Okay. Well, the one thing I've never, ever read the Gift of the Magi, or Magi.
I think I'm pronouncing it Magi because that's apparently how my parents' pastor pronounces it.
Oh, okay.
When he was talking about the three wise men last
Yeah, Magi.
earlier.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that. So, like, I'd be like, yeah, I saw it coming from a mile away.
Oh yeah.
And this is like, man, just like the sacrifices these two characters make in order to not make make their boyfriend or girlfriend happy, but at the same time the willingness they're willing to sacrifice their most beloved treasure in order to obtain that,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately to almost cancel them out because of their willingness to sacrifice their most beloved treasure. Mickey with his harmonica
and her with her watch.
her watch.
Of course,
Well-
I would like to point out that she's not going to be living in that house much longer.
Yeah.
You saw those bills.
Oh
She
yeah.
probably can't pay them.
No.
She's going to be out on the street with Mickey one way or the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Next year.
Yeah, at least. Oh gosh. But
Sorry, that's the thing. It's one of those weird things I always notice.
yeah, I did
It's like-
too.
This is going to be bittersweet.
Yeah,
And not
agreed.
just because it's Gift of the Magi.
Yeah, agreed. So yeah, mine is the loving sacrifice these two characters
Mhm.
do in order to give their respected love the gift they
Yes.
deserve, and it was touching. All right, so what is your
My dislike for this is the fact that it's Gift of the Magi. I hate this story. It's my least favorite Christmas story.
Oh wow, okay.
So when I saw this was what was coming up, I thought, oh, great. This story. I hate it. And let's face it, the core of this story, I still hate. What I enjoyed about this short was everything that they did on top of it.
Yeah.
So they did a good job of making it entertaining, even for those of us who hate the story.
Yeah.
It's just, you can see it coming from a mile away. It seems like it's a stupid decision either
Yeah.
one of them could have made. They could have found another way to do it. Short of theft. They could have just said, well, I tried to get you a gift, Minnie, but I couldn't afford one. And she says, that's okay, Mickey. I couldn't find a gift for you either because I couldn't afford one. All that matters is that we spend together
Yeah.
on Christmas as a couple because we love each other,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all it has to be. The fact that I sold my watch to buy you a harmonica case. Oh, I sold my harmonica to buy you a chain for your watch. Well, boo! Christmas in some way is going to be ruined because I'm sorry, I don't care how much you love each other.
Yeah.
There's a part of you going, well, there's a part of you thinking, well, I could have handled that better.
Yeah, just a little bit.
We should have thought this through a little more. That just did not go off the way any of us had planned.
Right.
It's sad and all, but still, at least with this version,
Mm-hmm.
they weren't sold to the same man.
Okay.
Because in the original story,
Yeah.
the Magi
Mhm.
is the person who buys the gifts from the selling items
Okay.
and sells them the gifts.
Okay.
That's why it's called the Gift of the Magi.
Okay.
And it's like, so this guy profits and nothing good happens from it. It's like, at least we didn't get that guy. And we at least get a guy who sells Mickey, and we assume perhaps that Minnie could have gone to that same store and
Yeah.
bought the thing, but we're not shown that. So it's not like we get this guy. It's like, well, why aren't you a turd?
Yeah, just,
You know, the only turd thing we have to deal with is Pete, and that's just fun. Now, if Pete was playing the Magi,
oh yeah, we would be
that
like,
would have been cool.
yes,
But
I
I'm
agree.
happy to just see Pete's property just burst into flames. That's hilarious. It makes me sound like a horrible person I recognize. But still, that was a fun scene.
Yes, there's a part of me I really want to make a joke, but it's really not.
So let's not go
Yeah,
there.
let's not go there
So
because
yeah,
it's making fun of another state that has a
Yes.
tendency of burning.
But let's just say that. Yeah, I know which state you're talking about. Let's just say that Gift of the Magi, not being my favorite Christmas story, is what brings this particular tale down for me. Simply because I just don't like the original tale, and this is an adaptation of it.
Okay.
So, the fact that it was able to do what it did and make me like it is, I say, props for.
Yeah.
But, I just don't like this story, so I just don't like it.
Okay.
So-
So I understand it.
Your dislike.
Okay, my dislike on this one is okay. So Minnie is living in this very small house,
Mm-hmm.
and she can't pay her bills, or she has overdue bills, and apparently she's going to get evicted.
Yeah.
At some point. And a scene that makes no sense to me is okay. She's living in this very small house in what looks like a Victorian styled neighborhood
Mm-hmm.
of all these massive homes just side by side by side by side. And
Are you saying she could have sold the house?
no, I'm not saying it makes no
She could have
sense.
sold the house.
She could have sold the house if she owned the house.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know. Be like she might be renting the house, but the location. But like, yeah, I understand you want to put it in a nice neighborhood, but why is she living in a very small house next to all these nice Victorian homes? That's the one that I never understood. I was like, I would understand if Mickey is living with like Daisy or something like that in this big townhouse, and they're all splitting bills or what have you. In the same house. They're splitting the bills for the house.
Why would Mickey and Daisy be living together?
I don't know.
Not Minnie and Daisy?
Minnie,
That I could
that's-
follow.
dyslexia, excuse me.
I'm sorry. I heard that. I was like, Mickey. Why would they be roomies?
Daisy and Minnie. Sorry.
More sense.
Okay. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. I was not implying anything. It was just dyslexia.
Anywho.
So my thought was that it didn't make one geographical sense. Two, it didn't make any logical sense. That Minnie Mouse would be living in a very small house in the middle of a Victorian style neighborhood. And it's just I understand if she's living in a smaller subdivision, a smaller city block, or she's living in a townhouse or something like that, apartment style building or what have you. But no, she's living in a small little house in the middle of what looks like a very rich neighborhood.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, logistics, what's going on here? So I was just like, huh? So yeah, that is my dislike of the odd locationing of Minnie's little house that
Yeah.
shouldn't be in a Victorian neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
So that brings us to the end of our review, which
Yeah.
means we need to give an overall rating for the entire collection.
yes,
I'm giving this 8.
okay,
It's a fun one. It's not my favorite Christmas special,
yeah,
but I mean, it's a fun little show. I mean,
Mhm.
it's got 3 great cartoons to go along with it. These would work good even by themselves,
yeah,
without being connected. And in some ways, I kind of wish that's what they were.
yeah,
But altogether, as a collection, they're good. I enjoyed them.
okay.
So yeah, 8.
Okay. I also give it an 8. It has one, storytelling is very well done. Characters amazing. Animation is good. The third one logistically was kind of a headache, but overall it's an incredible story. It's an incredible. I can't believe I never watched this. Growing up. Now, granted, this came out in 1999. I was already in high school, and we were watching The Santa Claus for Christmas and Die Hard and what have you. So this was never on our radar. But overall, it's a thoroughly enjoyable story that is heartfelt, very loving, very showing a side from a secular viewpoint of Christmas.
Yes.
What the point of the season is from a secular viewpoint.
Yes. So, that brings us to the end of this episode of the Cellcast. I don't know what I was about to say. Because usually at this point it transfers into the pre-recorded outro, which we are going to have to re-record at some point. But not tonight.
Okay.
So, join us next week for the second half of our Prep and Landing duology. Prep and Landing, Naughty versus Nice. Join us then.
Yep.
Come, Jacob, we must prepare for next week.
Prepare for what, Drew?
The same thing we do every week, Jacob. Record a podcast!
Oh, boy.
So where can they find you, Jacob?
They can find me on Facebook at Jacob B. Heron and Jacob's Daily Art Corner, my personal art Facebook page. On Twitter at Jacob B. Heron. On Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. And on Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. Where can they find you, Drew?
You can find me on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. You can also find my Facebook page at Drew's Photo Bin, where I upload my photography. You can also follow me on Letterboxd at GGeorge759 and Twitter at GGeorge759. Where can they find us, Jacob?
You can also visit our website, thecellcast.podbean.com, where you will find every episode we released and links to listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Stitcher. Our RSS feed, if we aren't in your favorite podcast app directory, please share, review, and subscribe to us there and share us with your friends.
You will also find a link to our Facebook group, the Double Feature Podcast Community, where we talk about both animated and live-action movies. We share this with our other podcasts, which we do with Jacob's brother Jim, at the Movie of the Week podcast, where we talk about live-action movies. You can also email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. Also, please like our page on Facebook. We try to post about upcoming movies. If you comment on that movie's post before we record, we'll read your comments in the episode. And remember, every time we say the Cellcast, that is with a single L.